Welcome, David, to TDC Talks once again. We spoke a little bit earlier in Spanish version, so if you speak Spanish, you can watch that one. But now we're doing an English version just for our American friends. So please let us know a little bit about yourself. What do you do? Where were you born? When did you come to the United States? All your progress.
Okay, so my name is David. I'm originally from Spain, from Madrid. So I came to the United States about 5 years ago. I came here to study. I studied at Palm Beach State College, and then I transferred to FAU. So a little bit about my background is I started studying design in Spain. I was focusing more on graphic design and photography, 3D, all that, and that was something that I was passionate about. I didn't finish I didn't finish college over there because when I finished my second year in Spain, I transferred here to the United States, and when I got here, I saw that the business field had more job opportunities and better paid jobs. So that's why I decided to do like a mix between business and graphic design. So I decided to go for marketing, and I love it. I've been taking pictures for about 6 years, 7 years, and I recently started doing videos about 1 year ago, and hustling, man.
Yeah. Just working at it. So you just came from Spain. Your English, you were learning English, also doing college. You had your experience as a photographer in Madrid, and also graphic designs, which I see is a lot of, two different kind of people. The photographer or the designer. You don't see that often. Someone that does all of the skills. So how do you manage to actually balance the graphic design and the photography, and how do you combine those two skills into one to deliver a great product?
Okay. I believe graphic design is a big thing in my creative process and my style. I tend to be very conscious about having everything aligned, or I'm always looking for something that is even compositions, and I think I have a big influence from graphic design, and I think graphic design gave me more like the eye of being able to see something that is visually pleasing. Also, since I studied in Bellas Artes, like arts in Spain, I got to know a lot of artists, a lot of different people with different techniques, like they were doing drawing or 3D photography, painting, a lot of things. And that helped me a lot to develop my eye to see things. For example, you can have like a chair that is nothing, but if you see it in a different way or in a different angle, you can have some beauty out of it. So I think graphic design is a big...
And I see that the concepts of graphic design, when you see negative space, all the theory of color, you have all of that, and it start overlapping into photography. That makes your product, your end product, so much better. So that's when I see the evolution, and then you came from graphic design to photos and now to videos. So how was your start when you started taking your first videos? What were your inspirations into the industry?
Regarding video, I always liked video, but I thought it was very hard, and I was focusing only on photography. I never did video before, but I started watching YouTube videos, and I was getting very excited about video. I think everything is going towards video, especially in social media. So I thought that I should learn, and I should develop that skill. So I started practicing. I had a shitty camera, but I was doing my stuff. I didn't I wasn't good. And by practicing and putting in the hours, I got better and better on every video, and
Awesome.
as everything,
So
practice.
you're saying practice is a big part, going into the streets, doing your thing, just learning from your mistakes. So, but what makes you, all the topics, for example, how to make a better composition, what's ISO, what's the right shutter speed. So where are you finding that knowledge? Because I know you were for graphic design, but what's the place for someone that doesn't know how to make a great video to start learning?
I think what makes someone a good videographer or photographer, you can divide it in two areas. You can divide it in the technical area and the practical area, where being the technical, like if you need to know what ISO is, speed, aperture, the lights, that's everything, like, or different light compositions, that's the technique. But then you also have to develop the skill, which I think you develop it by actually doing, because if you see my first videos were awful, but I mean, I'm not saying that I'm great, but I have seen an evolution in my work, and I think that I became better.
Proficient, into the craft.
By doing it,
Yeah.
like making mistakes on every video, and then oh, I missed the focus on this, I have to pay attention next time, or oh, I didn't get this angle, or it's not stable. So those things you keep it in mind for the next video, so you improve it and you become better and better.
Yeah. That's great. What are those things that you always look for? Because when I started in video as an editor myself, I didn't know about focus, for example. I didn't know about the terms. I didn't know about lighting, the importance of creating a shadow for the person, going halfway, those kind of things that you start learning with the process. But what made the difference for you that, change from a amateur type of video to a real professional, like, okay, that's really interesting because it looks different now. So what was the aha moment that you were like, okay, that's the right thing?
I think a key element in improving on every video is actually watching stuff, like keeping an eye on other creators, being inspired by other creators, and to be honest, like watching, and that's how you develop your eye and your style. And oh, I didn't think that this transition looks so good, I'm gonna try to do it in my next video. Or you just get inspired by other creators, and then you try to bring those
the styles to find into your voice, and then you start combining them, and maybe you find that maybe the transition is not for that. But actually, as an editor, I find it exciting to learn new craft. But then when I notice, it's like, oh, maybe this video is a little bit more serious, so maybe let's just take out the zoom transition, for example. But then I find out that actually audio plays a big part into the whole process. When a chef is cooking inside a kitchen, the person is cutting, all the vegetables are coming out, and you start putting sound effects, sound design, not only the music, and super interesting, the composition went from 50 to 100 value just for the sounds. That's, for example. So maybe what else can I see? That lighting also make a big change when we started doing the compositions. We also take clients and all of that. So that's a big part when we are editing, no? So I really like your work because I see that you don't focus only in big corporations or businesses, but you also have an influencer following that actually follow you for your photography and your work. So how do you approach those influencers to actually start working with you?
That's very interesting, because the way I approach to influencers is, let's say I'm located in Boca Raton and I want to target influencers that are based in Boca Raton. So what I would do is I will go to my Instagram, open the search button, click Boca Raton, and start looking for, like, mainly, usually when you put Boca Raton, you can see the 9 first posts They are usually with a lot of engagement, a lot of likes, a lot of comments. So they're usually influencers. So I would just click on them, see if I can have like a good fit with them. If I like their style or their content, I will just send a message, and I will say something like, "Hey, Daniela, my name is David. I'm a professional photographer. I love your content, love what you do. I would like to connect with you, and I would like to take some amazing pictures for you." So depending on if you wanna do it for free for in exchange of exposure, or if you want like money, it depends. You can have a different approach. If you want a free free exposure, you can ask, you provide value to them, like, hey, I can take some pictures for you for free.
It's a collaboration.
Exactly.
Yeah. The influencer takes a lot of work out of your shoulders when you find it rich, because now we know that the algorithm is not working as 2 years ago.
Right.
So that's a big topic now. So I really find interesting how you actually approach those techniques, not only with the people you work with, but also different hashtags that you use. Maybe you can speak a little bit more about that, or your techniques regarding stories. What do you use, stickers, and all of that?
Yeah, I try to, again, since the algorithm sucks, I try to generate as much engagement as I can. So one of the techniques I use is on my captions, I try to ask questions that are easily to respond. Like, do you like the first picture or the second picture? Do you like color or black and white? So that way people tend to comment, and that way my engagement percentage, my engagement increases. And another thing that I do is I always share the post on my stories, because right now I will say stories is what people
what's popping right now. Yeah,
because popping. And I will just try to get creative, like, do you see my last thing? Or I will just make maybe a post so small, and then I will put a sticker on top, and I will say, don't touch the fire. And people are going to touch the fire.
Yeah.
And then I also use some hashtag strategies. I don't know if you want me to talk a little bit
Sure.
more.
Yeah. Right.
So what I basically do is, depending on the amount of followers that you have, you should use certain hashtags. It's going to be hard to explain this in English. So, okay. Yeah. So, for example, let's say you have 2,000 followers. So you should use hashtags that are related to your niche. Let's say I took a portrait and I posted a portrait. So I'm using hashtags related to that portrait, since I want people that like photography to see my stuff and eventually like my picture and follow me, no? So what I do is, instead of putting the hashtag portrait, which has like 10 million posts, it's going to be so hard for me, since I don't have like a big following, to rank in the top 9 posts. So what I do instead is I use hashtags with less amount of interactions, like let's say 20,000, 50,000.
Because you have more possibilities to appear on the search.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
Exactly. So I usually use, like, for myself, I use around 5 hashtags with around 20,000 posts. Then I use another 4 to 5 with 80,000, then 120, and then 200. That way, the people, if I can rank in the one of the top posts, people are more likely to see my posts, engage more with my content, and then I can rank
scale into the other one.
Exactly.
That's super interesting. And then I imagine that you have different sets depending on the picture. So if you're talking about maybe a landscape, you have something, or a model, or some food or products.
Exactly.
That's super interesting. So what I see is that you actually use your Instagram profile as a portfolio. So what's the process on your thinking when you're posting regarding finding clients for your own practice, So what do you do exactly when you post?
So what I do is, I just try to focus my content on a specific niche. However, most of my clients, contact me via social media. I used to have a website, but since all the customers that I had came from social media, I decided to shut it down.
Yeah.
And I only have Instagram, Facebook, and I'm starting creating a YouTube channel. And I mean, that, to be honest, that's something I have to improve, because right now I'm just posting content that I have instead of having like a certain
Niche.
strategy, content strategy. I mean, I have the knowledge, but
It's the time. It's the time. It's the time. But then we see that there are many ways to just approach the scenario of maybe you do a long form content and you start chopping, and then you start posting, and you have a lot of work, great work from your portfolio, your videos, your photos. So that's great to have. And that's something I will add, but your Instagram account is actually amazing right now. So this is going up, but besides Instagram, I see that you are actually jumping into a new platform, and that's TikTok, which has a lot of organic reach, which is not something that you find on Instagram or a mature platform as Facebook or Instagram. So when did you decide to jump into the platform, and what are you doing to just keep it up, or do you have any plans to start doing something with it?
yeah, as you said, TikTok is fire right now. You post a video, you have 100,000 views, and out of nowhere.
Out of
You
nowhere.
don't even have to pay. It's free. Right now, I have a very small following, like around 80, 90 followers. But some of the videos that I post have the same reach as the same video on Instagram. So I think I have to post more often, because what I'm posting on TikTok right now is just the same videos that I post on Instagram. I don't create content specifically for the platform, which is something that I should start doing. So, but yeah, I'm right now. I'm just getting used to getting used to the platform. I'm still learning how it works, because it's a very young demographic, and it's very dynamic. And what works on Instagram or Facebook doesn't work on TikTok. So you have to know what platform you're in and create content specifically for that platform.
Great. So let's shift gears a little bit. So tell me a little bit, how do you find clients, maybe photography, maybe for social media management? How do you approach the person? Do you do free trials? Are you a believer that free work will get you somewhere? Or are you someone that just, hey, don't take advantage of me, just I only charge this amount and that's it? So how do you approach that?
I'm a good believer of working for free, and I have been working for free a lot, to be honest. Obviously, people are going to take advantage of you sometimes. So I would suggest working for free, as long as you see that you can have also value from that work that you're doing, or from the person that you're working for. Another way of getting clients is, I usually say, depending on the project, if I'm doing Facebook ads, for example, I will say something like, I'll work for free 2 weeks in exchange of a testimony. That way, if I'm having good results, they are going to be happy, they are going to be willing to work with me, and I'm going to be having a testimony. If they don't want to work with me because it's too expensive, or they don't have the budget, whatever, now I just have a testimony. I can go somewhere else and say, look, this is what I do, these are the results that I provide. This is why you should hire me.
So your work comes mainly from social media accounts, or do you reach face-to-face, or maybe referrals for someone that's starting? So maybe they have the knowledge, but they never had the chance just to start working with someone. So you just say, okay, just write someone by slide into the DMs, or what do you do? What do you actually do?
I actually do DMs a lot, cold email, which I don't think it's working for me, and face-to-face. What I recommend to anybody is being surrounded by other creators, because sometimes the person who gives you the work is not a restaurant or a dentist or whatever. It's actually your friend that needs help. So I will suggest you to create connections, surround yourself by people that inspire you, and be involved, be willing to help. Hey, I like this podcast that you're doing. If you need help next time, let me know. So what you're doing with this is you are in the other person's mind. So whenever they need you or they need someone else, the first person they're going to think of is you.
That's great. That's the way to approach it. And maybe when you do great work, the work speaks for itself.
Exactly.
So if you always strive for the best that you can, that's the way to get the best results. So shifting gears again, your process, I see that you are learning a lot from different industries, and also you have different skills that you're putting into your arsenal. When I see is like you have different rings and you're wearing different hats. So you actually have knowledge in pay media, you have knowledge in social media management, video and photo production. So you have the full scope. You know how to create the content and you know how to put the content in front of the audience.
Exactly.
So how was the process when you learned how to do pay media, and what are some of the results and what did you learn from them?
Well, I learned a lot from YouTube, free stuff, a lot of webinars, a lot of freebies and ebooks and all that. And I bought some courses, online courses, and I think that's very helpful. And I also feel like I have learned more from online courses or YouTube videos than from college. So yeah, I mean, that's something I would encourage to anybody to learn. Always be active, be learning something new, be out of your comfort zone.
Out of your comfort zone and always trying new things, because I feel that marketing is always changing. Yeah. And if you went to school and you did a master in marketing or you did a bachelor's in marketing, something is in less than 2 weeks, that's going to be out of business, because marketing is always changing, new platforms, everything is new. So what's right now something that's in your mind that you want to learn in the future? And what do you want to get your hands on in the 2020?
In the 2020, I want to do my YouTube channel, commit to it, and start putting some nice content, providing value to them. I want to build an audience, and I think that's the way to go, especially nowadays. I think YouTube is huge if you want to position it yourself as an expert, and it gives you a lot of exposure, so that way you can have more clients. And more clients and more clients.
Yeah. So YouTube is first for you.
I want to learn, I want to get into YouTube, and I want to learn more paid media. I really enjoy doing that. And something that I'm learning also is After Effects. I just have the basics, but that's something I think it's very important too if you want to differentiate yourself from other creators, stories, or
so motion graphics.
Exactly, motion graphic, or just that little edge, something different that differentiates you from others.
Yeah, so that's a big year ahead. That's a big task. So far, I know you're running some ads for some companies. So maybe drive me into some of the campaigns. What do you do? What are you looking for? What do you learn from them? So it depends. Just pick one, your favorite, and just tell us a little bit more about those campaigns.
Our specific campaign, or
just one of the campaigns in the industry that you see, I learned something interesting. Maybe this restaurant is working, maybe this dental office, or anything regarding that.
Okay. Well, some insight that I recently learned, which might be obvious, but I thought it was very interesting, is we were running a social media campaign, and we were driving cold traffic that might be interested for a certain promotion that we're running. We were sending that traffic to a landing page so they can put their information, and then we send them like a coupon with MailChimp, right? So the conversion rate was low, and by the second we changed one thing, instead of sending that traffic to a landing page, doing it inside of Facebook,
everything
blowed
changed.
up, man. Yeah, man. Because what I think is that people don't like going. If they're in Facebook, they like the thing they saw. They click the ad. They don't want to leave Facebook. They want to stay in the platform. So they submit with the Facebook form. They submit it. You already have their information, and they can still be on Facebook. Because if they leave the platform and then, no, they don't like that.
That's right. That's something new that Facebook implemented a few months back, that they put the lead form within the platform. And that's right. They don't like people just going out and that's it. They just, and the autofill. I don't know if you have filled out a lead form. When you see they have the phone number, they have the name, that you don't have any barriers when they're filling out.
And it's already set up.
It's already set up. You just click. So that's a big change. I'm glad you find that out and you saw the big difference, that you actually did an A/B test to see actually the results. So that's great to know. So now, regarding the knowledge you're getting from Facebook ads, I know that you can use that with webinars, you can do a lot of landing pages, you can do all of that. So what are you learning? I know you read a book that's super interesting, as make everything different for the industry. So maybe tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I basically read 2 books from Russell Brunson. I think he's awesome. He's the founder of ClickFunnels, and he was the one who actually invented the sales funnel, like the online sales funnel. So I read 2 books, which I recommend 100%. They changed my perception of marketing completely. I learned a lot, even more than 4 years in school. Blow my mind. They're called Expert Secrets and .com Secrets. And they explain a lot of things, like things such as what is called traffic, warm traffic, hot traffic, how you have to approach those traffic, the different ways you have to talk to them, how you
the upsells also.
Upsells, yeah, I mentioned that before. Like just by the simple fact of when someone buys your product, just by asking, "Hey, do you want to buy this also?" Or you bought a mug, do you want also coffee? Just by asking that, you're going to be selling 20% more in average.
So after just reading that, I know many people changed their view in just selling courses. If you are good at something, if you're good at cooking, if you're good at painting, you want to teach people how to do it, that's a way to do it. So after reading that, what's your approach after many ways that you can make money using social media? If you build an audience, what different ways? You know, you can do merch, you can do courses, you can sell presets if you're a creator. So how do you see that after that?
I mean, I think absolutely. I mean, if you have a good product and you want to put it to the public, and you're right, I mean, do it.
So what do you recommend? You recommend, I know it's from Facebook ads, then you have, maybe you can give some...
Webinar?
Yeah, the webinar, the whole funnel. So what do you recommend for someone that's, I know how to play piano, but what should I do? Where should I start? So after you reading that and your experience in marketing, what would you recommend to be the first step for them?
For example, if you like playing piano and you want to make money out of it, I will start creating content related to that, provide value, tutorials, or I'll show you how to play this song, how to do this, something interesting, something different than your competition. And then regarding the marketing, the sales funnel, you can have organic
traffic
from your YouTube, Instagram, whatever. You can also have paid traffic. So the reason why webinars are very popular is because it's a very, very good way of converting someone that doesn't know you to a potential buyer. Why? Because if you're selling an online course, for example, of how to play piano in 1 week, someone that is interested in learning how to play piano might see your ad, click in the ad and see the webinar. What you're doing in that webinar is let them have a feel of what is learning from you. You provide a lot of value in that webinar, and that way they can feel like, oh, this guy is awesome, he's an expert, I love how he teaches, I want to take the course with him. Or if they were thinking about buying a course about how to play piano, now you're gonna have more chances of getting the client because they get to know you and they like the way you teach.
Exactly. So you provide value.
Exactly.
Value is always the key. You build a following, and you can. It doesn't have to be 100,000 followers. It can be 10,000, 5,000, 2,000. If you have 1,000 loyal followers, you can actually make a subscription-based, course. So it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be Kim Kardashian or anyone. You can start if you're good at it and you're good at teaching and you're, you know how to drive the person, take it by the hand and just until the end and just teach them. That's a good way. So thanks for that insight. So you recommend ClickFunnels, you said. What else would you need to make that happen?
Well, you can have a platform that hosts online courses. One of my favorites is Teachable. It allows you to put all the videos and have different sections, different episodes. So it's very nice.
It's very interesting. Okay.
I'm thinking about having actually a online course, but that's something
that's coming up
not
in
for
2020,
but 2021.
2021. All right. Let's build the following. You're doing great. When you see it, I know you have a lot of insights. I'll buy your course. Just saying. I mean, you have a lot of insights in composition, photography, how to manage the clients. I mean, that's super, super insightful for someone that's starting. And you can be, an expert in maybe in 4 hours, 5 hours after watching the course. So it's like taking a college class. And that's a point that I want to get. How do you see the education system after all the courses and webinars? So you go into a university learning something that's maybe 4 years, but then when you go into the job, if you're doing marketing or something regarding business, that's it. I mean, you need to keep learning and learning and learning. So how do you see the evolution after this whole, digital era? You see universities just turning away, maybe they're doing lecture capture or they're doing only online classes. How do you see it?
I mean, I agree with you 100%. I feel like the school system is obsolete. Depending on what you want to study and what you want to work it's necessary. For example, if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a doctor, obviously you need a bachelor's degree and a master's and all that. But for other professions, I believe you don't even need a title that says that you have a bachelor's degree. As long as you know what you're doing, you provide value and you provide results. That's what people like. I mean, especially with our content creation job, where they don't care if you are graduated. They just care about the quality of your work.
Exactly. And also the aspect, many people say, okay, the community in universities. I'm paying for the benefit of you having a community, but also there are co-working spaces that you can study from and just learn from people that are actually working on your industry. You can go into a co-working space for marketing. You can go for a co-working space for design, anything regarding that sense. So when you see that, there are many ways to turn around. But what I see, because I know you from school, I know you from Florida Atlantic University, so I know you're someone that took advantage of actually studying in a university. So maybe you can tell me some insights, some of the clubs you were in, how did you get involved into the soccer games, also the football, the American football ones, how did you were into the marketing team of the university, how did you get in it?
Oh, well, the way I shoot it for Florida Atlantic University is because Florida Atlantic University hires a person, which is Andrew Robinson. He is a beast. And then he needed some help and he asked me to help him. And the way I met him is because, as you said, I'm always involved. I'm 100% encouraging everybody to get involved as much as they can, making connections, making friends. And one time I was working for student government, and we were shooting a promotional video showcasing what we did throughout the year. So this guy, Andrew, came to the office because he had to shoot some B-roll. I didn't know him, but I knew his work. I thought it was amazing. I loved it. So when I saw him after shooting, I told him like, hey, I really love your work. I would like to connect with you. If you need help, let me know. I'm 100% available. And he asked me to help him for a behind the scenes photo shoot. I took some pictures of him. He liked them. And then he started giving me more job, like for
future, yeah.
Yep.
And you were actually in the marketing department. So what were you doing inside that department? I know maybe I'm guessing. Maybe you learned more from the marketing geek inside the university than from the actual class, because I feel I took some marketing classes in the university. I'm a finance major actually, but I went into marketing. I self-taught. I learned everything using YouTube, Skillshare, all of those platforms. But I feel that all the classes I took from marketing, they were super technical. Right. They were super, okay, this is Color 101, this is what we do, this is how we approach clients. So what do you learn from the actual job inside the university?
Well, what I actually learned is a lot of time managing, like everything. You have to be conscious about everything. What I was doing there, it was a little bit of everything, but it was at college level, so it wasn't that impactful. I was doing mainly graphic design.